Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all.
Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link. Good morning. Wait for it. Good morning. It is a Monday. I had to throw a little extra in there. You know how hard it is for some of us on Mondays. But hey, Q Karen Carpenter, rainy days and Mondays always get me up. That's it. I don't want anything that's going to get me down. Can I get an amen? There's one. right? We are here to uplift, empower, assist, and pour into each other, right? That's what we're here to do. Dr. Lauren in the house, looking kind of rough this morning, but I'll tell you why in a minute. Yeah, how was your weekend? How was your weekend? I was home actually part of the weekend alone, as you all know, and thank you all so very much for all of your compassion, your empathy, your outpouring of support last week. You know, a lot of you, if you don't, my husband's mother, my mother-in-law, passed away. Very difficult. That's the first one in their family, and they have a very small family. Just he, his brother, and dad left. Really, maybe like one aunt. A very small family. And anyway, they had their a private thing. So the rest of us will go and do something later in the summer at the house. But anyway, thank you so much. I can't even begin. And on social media, just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of outpourings. We really, really appreciate you. So thank you for that. That's the bell of purpose. I ring it not on accident, but on purpose. It is there to remind each and every one of us that just like that bell, you guessed it, the ring is of truth. The truth has a ring of it. So when you hear some truth out on the stage today, you're gonna hear that bell too, in case you're doing something. I know you're multitasking, flat ironing that hair, baby food feeding, all that stuff you're doing. Maybe stuck in traffic. Hope not. But when you hear the bell, will you lean in, please? Thank you so much. Do we have any announcements? We have a couple. First of all, if you're in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, next week I'll be keynoting there. 750 DSS, Department of Social Services employees. I'll be there. And if you are in the neighborhood, I would love to have a cup of coffee. Just say hi or grab a hug or two. So if you're in the area, let me know. Dr. Lauren would like to see you. And what else? What else? What else? Let me think. Oh, wait, I have a list here. Why don't I use it? Today's guest, I'm really excited about it. Charles Maddox, you guys know he's here from time to time. And my husband, Brian, and I have gone and participated in one of his docuseries. We were years ago, 8 days in Mexico, cancer survivors looking for alternative, holistic solutions. Well, he's constantly, as you know, I think the longevity series, we were talking about that not so long ago. He's in the process of a menopause series. Very exciting times for that. And who knows what else. Charles is always busy, busy, busy. But one of his colleagues, one of the people that, you know, he always sends us these stellar people that help us do better and just enlighten us in so many ways. And today's guest is no different. Her name is Dr. Sarah. Now, okay, some intern's going to get in trouble. I'm getting ready to say. Because first of all, we had an issue with a picture. Now I'm looking. Isn't her name? Isn't it Salvivar? Salvivar, not Salvivar. Oh my goodness. Let me take a drink of coffee so I can calm down. Anyway, take a look at this. She has a book. Dopamine Brain Rehab Protocol. My brain could use a little rehabbing for fitness and all addictions. I think that's that thing. Dopamine, isn't that thing? We all our brains go, give me some more. I like it. Right. Is that kind of how it works? I think so. We might learn something about that today. And here's another thing we're going to talk about today. Weight loss transformation. Now, who just did that? Moi. 37 pounds down since January 4th, maintained it now for 41 days, and I'm really excited. You want to see the pictures? If you're eating and have small children or old people with pacemakers, leave the room with them right now. Here I was, January 1st. Ooh, Lord Jesus. And here it was 2 months later. Uh-oh. Okay, now I can't wait till I talk to her today, though, because I got an issue. There's the side. Ooh, is that not the Black Alfred Hitchcock? Good evening. Right. And there was after that. Now, you remember 10 years ago at 52, same starting weight, 198.6. In the same amount of time, I went from that to this. Now, I was 52. Now I'm 62. I'm not trying to look like him. It'd be nice. I ain't gonna lie. It would be nice, but I want to feel like that guy. I want to feel like him. So today we're gonna talk to Dr. Salvivar about that. Baseline dopamine, addictions, meat eaters in the house, stand up. The carnivore diet. I have an aunt who I heard you. Okay, aunt. Tomatoes. Who did that carnivore. Still does. Nothing but meat and makes her own jerky and stuff. And she too has lost an enormous amount of weight. Now, what I want to talk to the good doctor about is I'm having an issue getting back into the gym. My energy. I used to, you guys know, I used to get up at 4 a.m. and go there by 5. I got to figure out how to get back. And so I'm going to ask her for that. Put your hearts on the screen. She's on her way down the hallway now, and get some pen and paper. Share this out. There's 1,072 of you watching right now. What can we do? Let's hit 1,200 today, shall we? This is information that we can all benefit from. Phone a friend and tell them to get in here. She's on her way. Dr. Salvivar. Hold on, doctor. Charles, what do you mean let you in? Let me in real quick before Sarah gets here. Too late. I don't read the comments before. Look what he said. Pay attention to the damn chat.
Charles, hello.
I'm not chatting yet. I'm doing the monologue. That's my moment in the sun. Get your own, Charles Maddox. Man, those darn Emmy Award winners. Me. Marsha. Charles, you really want to come in? I think he wants to talk about you. Let me get this going. Tell everybody while I do that. Welcome, Doctor. You look like a TV star. You should be a model.
Oh, thank you.
You're so beautiful.
I try. Thank you so much.
You look happy.
I am very
peaceful,
happy.
Joyful.
Yes. Sober, healthy, happy.
Uh-oh. You said sober for a reason.
Yes.
Wasn't always the case?
No. That's the thing. That's what brought me to writing this guide. That's what brought me to doing my dissertation on food addiction. Food is a drug. Food is...
Girl,
yes.
Say it again.
Yes. So, I definitely had, I went through the ringer with my health, and I did not realize that the root cause of that was a sugar addiction, which led to gut health issues and acne, and then an inability to lose weight and yo-yo dieting and cravings and all the works, depression, really severe, battles with mental health, anxiety. The list goes on and on.
And all of this originating with a food addiction, sugar.
Yeah. It's all one and the same. It started with dieting attempts when I was a preteen, which leads to binge eating and sugar addiction, which then further propagates poor health, right? Skin, and also not knowing what a healthy diet is. I went and I got my bachelor's and my master's degree in nutrition dietetics, and I did, the internship to become a licensed dietitian. Then I did my PhD in exercise physiology and nutrition. And I was taught the wrong things. I was taught, eat all the grains, whole grains, steer clear from the fats. Basically what your typical registered dietitian to this day is recommending, basically what the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the American Heart Association, the American Diabetes Association are putting out, and it's the wrong diet. And this is why everybody is still struggling with all kinds of issues, autoimmune diseases, joint pain, gout. I just had this amazing inspirational story on my YouTube channel. I interviewed this guy. He did carnivore, but he kept some blueberries. And only when he removed the blueberries, within a month, all gout, all arthritis went away. He said, my joints feel like they're WD-40.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
She's telling the truth. I just threw some out yesterday because that transformation I did was based on this, the metabolic balance. And so my blood work told me what to eat and what not to eat. And I tried stuff, blackberries and it was my joint pain because
Mm-hmm.
inflammation was through the roof. So my
Yeah.
respiratory, because I have these, Dr. Sarah,
Ah,
and I've been on them since I was a kid. There's one in every drawer in every room, in the
yeah.
glove compartments of the cars. And do you know I have not used that thing except for once since I started this diet?
Wow.
Seriously. Um,
Mm.
and so you're right. I ate some blueberries and I
Uh-huh.
woke up the next day and I was like, and she told me, my coach, Dr. Jane, she was like, okay, dokie. Because I was like, girl, relax. It's just a few berries. I mean, come on. Because you know how
Yeah.
we get. We think we
Yeah.
know everything. And she was right. So talk about this. Well, first of all, I'm gonna dip out. I'm gonna leave and let you just introduce yourself,
Mhm.
and then I'll give Charles the link, but I'll let him in when I'm ready. Don't worry, because he'll take over.
Hang in there, Charles.
Yeah, hang in there, Charles. No, you should be telling me to hang in there. You know him. Anyway, take it away. Tell you already introduced, but why don't you do this? Open up the idea of the top 3 things you want to take us down the road towards,
Mm,
and then I'll come back in when I'm, finished with who. Okay?
okay,
All right,
okay,
all you take it away.
sure. So, top 3 things we can go down the rabbit hole in. So, I would say the biggest thing is understanding that we ate a carnivore diet for 99.99% of our existence as a species here on Earth. And so, human DNA thrives when we give it meat or animal fat and animal protein. What happened in the last 0.1% of our existence as a species here on Earth was the agricultural revolution. So this only happened in the last 10,000 to 12,000 years ago. So that's, if we're looking within a 24-hour period, that happened, the agricultural revolution happened in the last split second. So it's very recent. Our genes don't still work very well when we're eating grains, when we're eating plants, and when we're eating dairy. And so you can see the skeletons of our ancestors. They were taller, they were more robust. We had bigger brains, bigger skulls. We did not have any misalignment of the teeth. And then you can see the skeletons right after we started eating plants and grains and all the things that dietitians nowadays tell us. And what I was taught in school, I'm a classically trained dietitian. I was brainwashed into thinking that we need those plant foods, we need the fiber, right? But if you look at the skeletal remains of humans right after the agricultural revolution happened 10,000, 12,000 years ago, when we started eating plants, we started getting shorter. Our bones started getting weaker, more brittle. We start seeing for the first time in history misalignment of the teeth, and we start seeing smaller skulls because our brains started shrinking in size. So we really paid a very heavy price when we started including more plant foods in our diet. We had to do it because we no longer had access to those large animals that we were hunting, because an asteroid either hit the planet, or the ice age ended, or it was probably a multitude of reasons. And also we overhunted those animals, and so our main food source dwindled. And so we had to either starve or adapt and get nutrition from another source. So yes, it was good in a way in that we survived. We did not starve. We did not go extinct, but we did pay a very heavy price doing that.
Well,
And
I'm saying right now,
now,
because my breakfast has no meat.
oh, really?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Going from ultra processed foods to cleaning up the diet to eating healthy whole foods, just real foods, not something that comes out of a package. A lot of people are going to find a lot of healing doing that. The problem is over a long enough time frame, and also as we start getting older and older, we start to become even more sensitive to the little toxins, because plants defend themselves, plant self-defense chemicals, right? And so as we get older, or if we have autoimmune conditions, or we weren't breastfed, or we developed food addictions which destroyed our gut barrier, we're no longer as resilient against the plant toxins in them, then we can find even more healing by eating more animal foods and less plant foods. And in my case, it's strict carnivore. For me, also, strict carnivore cures my food addiction, right? Because when you get to end stage food addiction, things that normally you wouldn't think of as addictive foods like cheese, like nuts, like fruits, now my brain is sensitive to them because I have reached that end stage. And so that's why I need to do that. Doesn't mean that everybody needs to do that.
There it is. That's what I was going to ask. Here's why.
Yeah.
And a lot of you know this because I talk about her all the time. I had 22 moms, right? And my third foster mother, I just got a card from her Saturday. Mrs. Valentine. Hi, Mrs. Valentine. She's 99. And I went and visited her a few weeks back for her birthday. And I call her every Sunday just about for a longevity tip. She turned me on to yeast flakes. She's turned me on to kale, all these things. But she said, and I come from a Seventh-day Adventist background. Okay. So a lot of my family members are vegetarian.
Right.
Well,
that's where the main recommendation to eat more plant foods came from. It came from the church, right? The founder of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics was raised in that faith, and that's why. Yeah. And so the Seventh Adventists, right? And to this day, this is why there's such a heavy influence that plants are the way. It's not based in real science, right? It's more about plants are healthy for us, and now let's do the studies to prove that plants are healthy for us. And again, it goes back to like ultra processed foods are the biggest thing for most people. So we want to get you to eating whole foods, but then it's really important for people to know that if you have debilitating anxiety, depression, food addiction, in that case, we need to really go a step further and really do.
Yeah. I want to ask because okay. And in all fairness, my mom, my adopted mom would allow we could eat beef. We just didn't eat pork. We could eat chicken and things of poultry. But it was a choice, and she would make it for us, and I never could understand how she knew how to make it because she didn't eat it. How do you know what it tastes like? But she did. But she wouldn't even cook her stuff in the same pans where there had been meat. Okay. Now, I want to ask this because this is happening to me currently. I made a roast yesterday. It was our treat day, right? My husband came home. Hi, Bernadette. Jaramillo, how are you? And I am finding, here I am in month number 4, and I am not craving, I'm just keeping it real, meat. I find myself wanting less. It feels heavy. As a matter of fact, I'm finding I want more and more of my vegetables raw. I'm finding I want them raw. I'm like, I love this. Yum, yum, yum. And it makes me just feel better. So is it one way for everybody, or is there something that makes some of us more inclined for something a little lighter on the meat side?
The less meat you eat, the less tolerant you get, because you start to lose a little bit of the stomach HCl and the digestive enzymes and all the stuff that breaks down protein. And so what I would recommend, especially if you haven't eaten a lot of meat growing up, don't start right away with red meat. Go with easier things like fish, ground chicken, ground turkey. They're easier on the digestion, to retrain your body to eat those foods, and then your stomach will get stronger. You'll start creating more stomach acid. Also, anybody over the age of 50, the aging process leads to a little bit less HCl or stomach acid being produced. And so you can take digestive enzymes to help with that, and different people, some people just have a strong digestive system. They can digest plant foods more easily, raw plants more easily. There is a genetic component in there, but I think it's worth it for everybody to just give it a shot, like 30 to 90 days of doing a carnivore and seeing, because there are a lot of things that you would be shocked you wouldn't even realize were due to your diet, like dandruff, eczema, psoriasis.
Oh, yeah. Eczema, right. Oh, yeah,
Amazing.
absolutely.
Yeah, people are curing psoriasis, whereby they've seen all of the doctors taken all of the drugs, and all those drugs do, they just suppress the symptom, right? But the underlying cause, it remains there. And so all these people with these healing stories, 30 days or 90 days, complete curing of lifelong psoriasis, eczema, debilitating anxiety, brain fog. For me, for example, veggies will give me brain fog, so I'd rather have more mental clarity. So, but again, that might be a shock for a lot of people. So I think the biggest thing is the ultra processed foods. This is why also you don't have cravings too much. Once you clean up the diet and you're not eating foods that have been designed by
Yeah,
food scientists, right, to
yeah,
addict you, you stop eating that. The
yeah.
cravings went away. The craving is a hallmark of addiction. What is causing the craving is those ultra processed foods. You eliminate the processed foods, it's like you stop taking the substance, you stop abusing a substance, so you no longer crave it. But it can take 30 to 90 days for that to completely go away.
I want to ask you something. Thank you for that. And then we'll get Charles in here. Um,
Mhm.
and I'm just saying, I'm just gonna let you know that both, you see how the squares are with us in it? When he
Mhm.
comes in, our squares are gonna shrink to about this much because his head will take up most of the screen. Just
Well,
letting
he
you.
does have a lot in that head, that's why he does such
Well,
amazing
that's
things.
one theory. I'm kidding. I see you, Charles. One thing, and I want you to get to it. You don't have to address it right now, but I want before we leave today, refined sugar.
Mm.
I had heard, and I saw a schematic once, and it looked like I don't. It was 100 different things going to, and it said this is what it takes to make refined sugar. And I heard somewhere through the grapevine that refined sugar has something in it that is equivalent to the same thing that makes people hooked, gets people hooked on heroin.
It's
And that,
worse.
oh no, corn syrup.
Yeah,
It
it's
was that.
worse.
Yeah, is that true?
It's very true. That's what I studied at food addiction, specifically sugar addiction, for 7 years at the University of Miami. So yes, it is absolutely true. Um, so we have animal studies and we have human studies. Just if you just go over the animal studies, you will be shocked when they give rats an option between cocaine or heroin laced water versus sugary solution or artificially sweetened solution. It's the same. It's the sweet taste. Doesn't have to be just sugar. Even artificial sweeteners, they're also a drug. The rats will prefer to take the sweetened solutions. They are far more addictive. Hi, Charles. They are
Hey,
they are far more addictive than cocaine and heroin. And when the scientists first discovered that, they could not believe it. So they decided to increase the concentration of the cocaine, to increase the concentration of the heroin. They figured maybe we just didn't give them enough of the hard drugs, and that's why they're preferring the sweet taste. And no, even at ever increasing concentrations of cocaine and heroin, the rats will still prefer the sweet or the artificially sweetened solutions, because we are wired, our brains naturally gravitate towards sweet stuff, because historically speaking, anything that you would find in nature that's sweet is less likely to kill you. In terms of plant foods, right, veggies can be toxic. 80% of plant foods are toxic to humans, but fruits used to be safe. And so this is why we don't have those defenses against the sweet taste. The problem happened in this last 100 years, where we started refining and refining that sweet taste and giving it in a very concentrated hit, to the point where now it is far more powerful as a drug as compared to even the hard drugs. And then you look at the brain scans of overweight and obese individuals. They have the same damaged brain as compared to a heroin addict, an alcoholic, and a cocaine addict. If I look at the brain scans, they call them the PET scan,
Yeah.
positron emission tomography, or PET scans, you cannot tell the difference between the two brain scans.
One question. Hi, Charles.
Right.
One question though, because I'm telling the truth. It happened yesterday.
Yeah.
I went to I didn't leave the house all weekend, right? I was in
Mhm.
this robe the whole weekend. Charles, remember I told you? Right. I didn't even put clothes on underneath because I didn't want to go to the mailbox. I needed to rest, right? Big week. And so anyway, when my husband came home, I said, well, I need to go and get one ingredient for our dinner. So what did I see? As soon as I walk in the door,
Yeah.
they got buy one, get one free pastries. And I was like,
Mm.
well, it is our treat day. You don't want to just leave the free pack. I'll give it away to the neighbors or something. I wasn't even home yet. I didn't put that bag in the trunk. I put it on the front seat next to me. I'm reaching over there driving,
Yep.
opening the seal. I was
Yep.
amazed at how much I could do with one hand while I was driving.
Yep.
By the time I got home, I had eaten two of the 6 in one of them. Brian, my husband, ended up having 2 of them, right? And so there was 8 total, which means I ate 6 of them. And
Yeah.
the thing that you be quiet, Charles, because I know how you were eating those McDonald's things last week. And the thing, but Charles, you said the same thing. Open your mic. You did the same thing. You said I bought 3 of them.
Yeah.
When and so what is it? I mean, and I was eating it like my life depended on it.
Yeah. Been there. That's classic. That's a classic food addict. Yes. Yes.
I felt horrible about it, but I didn't stop doing it.
Because you already have those tracks laid out in your brain. Your brain never forgets. It's like when you learn how to drive, even if you haven't driven for 10 years, when you go back and you sit in a car, you right away, those tracks, those neural tracks in your brain, they're there. Even though they laid dormant for 10 years when you didn't drive, the moment you're back in the car, it knows exactly what to do. You're not even thinking about it. It's automatic. So with addiction, this happens to an extreme. It's your willpower part, the awareness part, this part here that's the most recently developed part of the brain is very weak. It almost goes dormant once you enter that addictive cycle. This is why we talk about you have to admit that willpower doesn't work in cases of addiction. I'm not saying that willpower is not a part of it, but if you just rely on willpower when we know you have an addiction, people who think that way never find sobriety. They always relapse. And so it's kind of like somebody who has diabetes, who has destroyed their pancreas. They've destroyed a part of the pancreas. Similar with food addiction, it's a destruction of part of the brain. And so the willpower piece does not work when we're treating addiction. We have to treat it as it's just a completely different way of going about it. Complete abstinence. You cannot. It's like you're allergic to addictive foods. It hijacks your brain, right? And you can no longer think clearly. It's like there's this brain fog that happens when you're in the midst of it, or when you are debating whether or not you can have a little piece. It has to be complete abstinence. And if you're end-stage food addiction, even things that normally wouldn't be called addictive foods like cheese, nuts, and fruits, now you can't have that at least for 2 years if you've achieved an end stage. And I think in your case, and in my case, I know we definitely are end stage, because this is why we get in the car and we can't even wait until we get to the house to eat it. We're already eating it.
Now, wait a minute. When you said sober, you were referring to your sugar addiction?
Yes, food.
I've never heard somebody talk about it. I bet they're like, she was on that shit. She was out there in them streets. When you say sober, she used to, and do you explain to people, now hold on, don't get it twisted. When I said sober, I meant food. And they go, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I explain it in my YouTube. I'm a hermit. I don't really see a lot of people. I just work and I talk to people online. But actually, food addiction is the hardest addiction to break. It is harder than heroin. It is harder than cocaine, because people first aren't aware that it's an addiction. And so if you get to a place where you understand that you're end stage food addiction, where it finally clicks for you. Good morning, Bernadette. Even if you are fully understanding of it, Thanksgiving comes, Christmas comes, and everybody around you doesn't take it seriously. And it's like, imagine a heroin addict and you go to a family reunion and everybody is giving you the heroin. It's like, just have a bite. What will a bite do? It's okay. They don't get it. So there's zero support in the community, in society. You are being bombarded with triggers for it on your phone, when you're watching movies. It is the hardest addiction to quit, but millions of people have been able to do that. You just have to really immerse yourself with those people, constantly listen to content on food addiction, at least once a week, join a support group. And you want to maintain that, especially in the first 90 days. The risk of relapse is as high as 95% in the first 90 days of sobriety. After that, it gets easier.
And Charles, you can chime in anytime now. Do you have any suggestions for food addiction groups?
Well, let me jump in before she jumps into that.
Don't forget that.
And yeah, you were ready to put me out even before I got in.
Yeah, pretty much.
These two are wonderful people. I'm glad you connected. But I will say that anybody who is listening to this, reach out to Dr. Sarah. I think that, over time, what I've learned here, especially doing the shows that we've been doing, I didn't realize I was addicted to food. And I did talk to Sarah about this not too long ago. And I found myself one day, 12 o'clock at night, up working or watching TV, rushing off to 7-Eleven to buy all kind of foolishness to eat at 12 o'clock at night. And that's when I kind of realized for the first time I actually had a food addiction. And over the last few days, I had to really come to a wake up, moment as I even had to go to the hospital the other day because of not only because of the stress, but I can't lie. This food addiction has been unbelievable, and I found myself eating everything from uh, hamburgers, hot dogs, chips, cookies, bacon, egg, and cheese from McDonald's, and like you said, getting three of them, and can't even wait till you get home. And I'm ashamed to say it. I know Sarah has been there, but I am ashamed to say it, especially with the platform that I have.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that this show is really, really important because food is a killer, and it will take your life, whether it's slowly or rapidly. And what people are eating without even realizing it every day. It doesn't have to be you were eating those buns like Lauren was in the car, or eating, the two bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits in the car. Every day we eat this ultra processed food. Every day we eat things that we shouldn't be eating. And we may even think that it's okay. Is an issue, and this will take our lives. This will get us sick. This will keep us sick. Um, I did start following some of your recipes, Lauren, only because I do believe that there is a balance.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarah is right. The carnivore is an amazing thing at times. Me personally, I don't know if it has to be done long term for everyone, but as a reset, even for a few months, it could be a game changer.
Yeah.
But what I borrowed some of your recipes, Lauren, because I'm waiting on my stuff to come on Wednesday from Metabolic Balance, and I woke up today for the first time without pain in the last probably week.
See?
And I'm starting to slim down. I'm feeling amazing. The inflammation was through the roof. My cardiac CRP, which most people, I'm probably sure 99% of people don't know what that even means, which is a register for inflammation, was through the roof. And I'm working on bringing that down. The addiction is unreal. Like I just learned something with what Dr. Sarah said. I didn't realize as well that that addiction is nothing that willpower. You're right. It just doesn't do it, because if you have lost over 35 pounds and you got in the car to eat 6 honey buns, something is wrong.
I know.
So I'm not going to take too much time, but I just would say anybody listening, this is an important show, because food really will take our lives and can destroy our lives. The amount of people who have died of obesity, hypertension, you name it, from food is staggering.
Right. Right. And I'm going to say this. I'm going back to starting. I got to go to the store so I can have everything, because I'm in the relaxed phase, but I'm getting ready to tighten it back up, because I'm going to tell you, those croissant things, raspberry one, 6 of them were raspberry filled, the other were look, I swear it felt like they turned into humans, picked me up like this and threw me against the wall. You gonna eat us or not? We got one choice. You gonna eat us or not? And I was like, no. So, and the thing was this morning, and I just thought about it, I wonder if this is connected. This morning when Brian was hugging, because he's a strong hugger, right? I nearly fell. And I was like, I'm dizzy today. I said, I feel like a little lightheaded. And he's like, should we call your doctor? I was like, no, I think I need to eat. And so, but now I'm thinking, was it that shit from last night?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me ask you
withdrawals.
before I leave: has that, Lauren? Has this food brought up your libido?
Which
Because
food?
the eating healthy. Because I know you had a problem as
Yes.
far as
Yes.
getting it
Yep.
up and keeping it up,
Yep. It changed everything.
so you could finally get it back up.
Hold on. What,
No, no.
Lord? I don't know what happened. Must be the internet there in Florida or wherever he is. I have no idea.
I am dead. That's too funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You ain't coming
welcome.
back. You might as well go on to the store wherever you headed, Charles. Didn't I warn him, everybody? Right in the chat. So Dr. Sarah, here's what I want to know. First of all, is there, because not all support groups, we can't take everybody's idea of what is right and what is not.
Yeah.
Do you have any suggestions, number one, for support groups that
Yes,
are
I do. I'm doing one. Is We're starting this month. So if you connect with me on Instagram, Dr. Sarah Zaldivar, YouTube, Dr. Sarah Zaldivar, you can or just go to my website,
okay? Because there's
drsarahzaldivar.com.
Instagram. We're doing it early. You
Yeah.
don't have just 5 minutes, so I'm changing that
Oh, okay,
so
okay,
they can get it.
okay.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely join us. We're starting this month, end of this month, and you need that support. You really do. And it's not like you have to be carnivore. You can choose. Addiction is not, doesn't have to be just carnivore. It just, you cannot do the ultra processed foods and the food
Right.
combinations that we know are addictive, right? Nobody gets addicted to lettuce. Nobody gets addicted to tomatoes. So there is a spectrum of the level of addictive potential of different foods. So we love you too, Charles.
Yes, most of the time. Um, so Dr. Sarah,
Yeah.
here's the thing. How do I get unaddicted how do I stop what happened last night? Because
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they put that shit right as soon as I stepped through the door, they were looking at me. I
Yes.
had a list with only 3 little things on it, and they overrode everything that I had set as an intention. Just stepped all over it.
Exactly. Willpower doesn't work. And it's a progressive disease, right? And so I was an end stage food addiction in my, when I was 17, 18. You know what? It's kind of difficult to remember just how bad it was, but like it gets worse and worse and worse. It definitely progresses over time. As we get older, we rehearse this habit of consuming those foods, and over time the amounts of foods start getting bigger and worse off in terms of addictive potential. So you might have been fine with a muffin or a cupcake, but now you need the whole chocolate chip cookies or the whole thing, and you just cannot stop.
What was that?
Mm-hmm.
Where do I start?
Okay. Abstinence. You have to understand what you're dealing with. I think the biggest thing for me that kept the reason I would relapse, which by the way, relapse is a normal part of recovery. So I'm so glad that Charles was honest, talked about it. It's just well known. Relapse rates are high when we talk about addiction, and especially with food addiction. So the reason that I would relapse a lot and frequently in the past is because I did not really, I was still kind of in denial. So number one, you have to really, really know what you're dealing with. You are fighting a really big monster. It's the worst of them all. And so if you're still casual about it, it's like, oh, it's just a little pastry, as opposed to, no, this is a recreational drug and I am a food addict. That could two completely different ways of dealing with it. You just don't take the first bite. That's the thing. You don't take that first bite because you understand that that's not food, that's a recreational drug. And if you're a food addict, it's no longer a recreational drug. Now
Wait a minute.
It's a drug that's sinking you down.
I just thought about something. I remember back when I was a junior in high school and somebody said, should we get high? Let's smoke some weed. And then the goody girl said, hi, Tracy Tierney. And that was 40 years ago. Tracy Tiernan said, "No, don't do it. It's a gateway drug." So I'm thinking, wait a minute. We were eating food before we were smoking weed. So is food considered, or should it be considered a gateway drug?
1000%. Oh, that's such a great point you just put out. Addiction interaction disorder is a real thing. When you develop addiction, now you are far more vulnerable to all other kinds of addictions, right? And so this is why a lot of people get sober from alcohol, heroin, or cocaine, but then they gain all this weight because they've just switched over their drug away from hard drugs that could potentially kill you to a drug that's not going to kill you when you relapse, and also it's not even considered as a drug. You go to Alcoholics Anonymous AA meetings, what do they have? Coffee, sugar, and donuts, and all the pastries. And so, yeah, they're sober, but are they really sober? They just switched their addiction. This is why I wrote the guide, Dopamine Brain. It teaches you how to correct the brain damage and speed up the brain damage rehabilitation by increasing baseline dopamine levels as quickly as possible, because using specific things, especially exercise, because if you don't utilize things to speed up the brain getting healthier, it can take up to 2 years for your brain chemistry to go back to normal after complete abstinence. So every time you relapse, you reset the clock, right? And so when you had those pastries,
what does that mean?
Meaning, okay, every time you eat addictive foods or you consume a drug, it destroys the dopamine receptors in your brain. So dopamine gets released in your brain, but it doesn't work automatically. It has to attach to its receptor called a D2 receptor. It's like a lock and key situation. You release dopamine, it has to attach to its receptor, the D2 receptor. Once the attachment happens, now you are feeling this high, this amazing feeling from dopamine. What happens when you consume a drug like cupcakes or cake or deep fried Oreos, whatever your drug is, or even cocaine, it's all the same. When you consume a drug like food, certain foods, you destroy the D2 receptors because your brain is being flooded with all this dopamine that's rushing in from the cupcake, and it doesn't know for how long this elevation in dopamine to a very high level that's not natural, it doesn't know for how long it's going to last. So it's like you're doing lines of cocaine, it's overstimulating you, and you might not eat, you might not sleep, you could waste away. So your brain is really trying to protect you from dying. And so it doesn't know for how long you're going to keep getting high. So to try and protect you, it starts to destroy the D2 receptor. So yes, you're doing the drugs, you're doing the cocaine, you're doing the cakes. It's releasing all this dopamine. But now, because your brain has protected you and destroyed the D2 receptors, it doesn't matter because the dopamine has nothing to attach to, right? And so, but you can kind of override that a little bit by building tolerance. You do higher levels of drugs so that you kind of override a little bit. And whatever remaining D2 receptors, the frequency with which you can activate them still leads to a high. But the longer you are addicted, the less and less and less D2 receptors you have. And when you have low levels of D2 receptors or dopamine receptors, that lowers your baseline dopamine levels. And so everybody talks about, how do I raise my dopamine? I don't care about your dopamine. I care about your baseline dopamine, because that sets the tone for your baseline mood, baseline motivation, baseline energy levels. And that's when you elevate your baseline dopamine levels, meaning you go back and you increase the number of D2 receptors. This is when you become resilient against addictions, because your brain no longer has this deficit, this just basic baseline deficit in dopamine, which sets you up to be vulnerable for addictions. So if you just abstain from drugs right now, you abstain from all the pastries, all of whatever drugs somebody's doing, it can take up to 2 years for the brain chemistry to go back to normal. But imagine living 2 years with a deficit in dopamine. You're constantly going to crave something. You're constantly won't be able to steer clear from foods or whatever, or alcohol, whatever it is, the drug that person is addicted to. And so the guide, the Dopamine Brain that you just put out, that I wrote this guide, it's based on my 7 years of the dissertation that I did at the University of Miami in using
This right here?
tools. Yes, this one, Dopamine Brain.
Okay.
it teaches you how to correct the underlying cause now of the craving. It corrects the brain damage that happened from addictions. It teaches you how to go back and increase the two receptor numbers.
Where do we get this?
It's on my website, drsarahzoldivar.com
Okay,
/shop, and
right
you'll
there.
find it there. Mm-hmm.
All right, so get it there before you go to Amazon or someplace, you guys.
Yeah, it's not anywhere except on drsarahzoldivar.com.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm gonna just tell you because I'm stuck. I'm like, oh my goodness. I want that support group because
Yes.
I want to ask you this. I'm 62. July 4th, I'll be 63. Is it any more difficult as we get older? Let's say specifically over that demarcation line known as 50. That's that point where a lot of us look ahead down the road and we go, ooh, I could very well have less road in front of me than I have laid out behind me. So I might need to consider making some changes. So is it any, because I that was part of why I got involved in this, to see if my metabolism had slowed down. Now, what I'm finding is it did everything, you hear muscle memory and all that stuff. It did everything. I mean, like that. So, because some people use as an excuse, well, that's good for those youngins, them young folks. Talk about that. Is age just a number?
Great question. We used to think that, but new studies that just came out in the past year prove that your metabolism does not slow down at all as you age. It literally doesn't slow down. Yes. And so a 60-year-old's metabolism is just as fast as a 20-year-old's metabolism. The difference is that those 20-year-olds are running around being very active, whereas at 60, a lot of people are more sedentary. And so that could lead to less muscle mass, right? Because if you're not moving your body as much, your body is not going to retain as much muscle mass. And the amount of muscle you have on your frame dictates your metabolism. So no, there is nothing. Age as a factor alone does not slow down your metabolism. It's just that people start to reduce their fitness lifestyle. They don't go to the gym as much. Maybe their mental health deteriorates, maybe because they've been gaining weight. When you gain weight, you're not going to feel as good. You're not as likely to go out. And it should be the other way around, right? If you get a little overweight, you want to go to the gym and correct it. But people, it's called learned helplessness, because we've been told just count your calories and you're going to lose weight, but they don't understand this is an addiction. This is a food addiction. So because they're treating it by just using willpower to restrict, they constantly lose weight, regain, lose weight, regain. Eventually, you get to 60, you're over it. It's called learned helplessness. You have no more motivation to put yourself through this cycle, because you know that every time you've dieted in the past, you failed or you regained the weight. And so you have no more motivation to do that. It's just that we have not been told the correct truth. It's the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics gets funding from places like Kraft and Nestle. Those are the food companies that are pumping out the ultra processed foods. They're adding sugar to everything. And so, of course, the Academy of Nutrition,
That's another thing I heard, that way back when I was transforming the first time, that like some ungodly number of foods would include sugar and corn syrup that didn't even require it.
Tomato sauce has sugar in it. Yes. How? Why do we need sugar in tomato sauce, right? Why are our registered dietitians to this day telling everybody that it's just about balance or in terms of like counting calories? No, this is an addiction problem. This is not a weight problem. This is a brain problem.
One last question. I can't believe how much time how it just flew. Let me ask you this. Are we being duped at all with the entire organic thing?
No.
How do we know? It looks the same as the fruit or whatever vegetable sitting right next to it, but this one is more expensive. This one, and a lot of people go, ooh, why would I pay 35 cents more for that tomato simply because it's organic and I have no proof?
No, it is if it has the USDA organic label on it, and it should have that little circle. Everybody go to Google and pull it up. USDA organic label. It looks like all, you'll see what it looks like. If it has that stamp, no, then it's fine. That means the FDA is checking on those produce or farmers and making sure that they're not using pesticides, and it's definitely 1,000 times better. If you are going to eat plant foods, yeah, at least make sure it's organic. Yes.
And so we should reach. Okay, there we
It
go.
should, it should just have the label. It shouldn't just say organic. It should have
Okay.
the label USDA organic stamped on
The
it.
label.
That's
There
different.
we go.
Yes.
One more. I keep saying last question. One more about meats. And let's go to beef. Ground beef.
Yeah.
98% fat free. 82% fat free.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's real. That's fine. That's
But
not
what should we grab?
So it depends. It depends. I personally get 85% ground beef, sometimes 80% ground beef. Because I'm doing a carnivore diet, which means I have zero carbs in my diet. There are two main fuel sources the body runs on: fat or carbs. So when you do zero carbs, then that means my fuel source comes from fat. So I have to get my fats from animal foods. So I do gravitate towards fattier cuts of meat. So I'll do bacon, I'll do eggs, I'll do shrimp cooked with garlic or butter or regular butter. I will do fish with butter. I will do fattier cuts of meat, ribeye, ribs. So it's really delicious food. Pork belly, chicken thighs with the skin on. I'll do air fried chicken wings, air fried chicken drumsticks with the skin on. It's absolutely delicious with some whipped butter on the side. Yummy.
Well, that sounds like a heart attack waiting to happen.
Wrong. And I have YouTube videos talking about cholesterol and heart disease. Did you know that 75% of people who have a heart attack have normal or low LDL cholesterol? Those are people walking around, their cardiologist is so proud of them. You're doing great. Your LDL is low. Maybe they're even taking a statin to lower it, and they go out and they have a heart attack. This has nothing to do with one another. And now we have just so much more recent data. It's just amazing that we're finally putting out the studies, real high quality studies that prove that there is no relationship between your LDL levels and your risk of a heart attack or a stroke. It's the sugar that leads to the heart attack. It is the inflammation that comes from eating foods that we have no business eating. We ate nothing but meat, fatty meat, for millions of years, for 99.99% of our existence as a species here on Earth, and we had no heart disease.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, as we leave, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot to take in. It really is.
It is.
So that butter thing that we heard about a few years back about putting it in your coffee and all that, that ties kind of into what you're talking about here with the carnivore thing, the fat.
Right, like the bulletproof coffee. Dave Asprey
yeah.
started that. Yeah, it's part of like the ketogenic lifestyle. I'm sure you could do that. I just worked with a client once who she was putting all the butter and all the cream, and it's like you still want to lose weight, because if you're just not really counting your calories, just eating all the fat, you're not going to lose weight. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. Just have black coffee. I'm just having black coffee.
Yeah, that's what I have.
No artificial sweeteners, right? Because I don't want to trigger my brain with cravings, and no real sugar and nothing else, because it's just so much easier. Just get your calories from real food. Get it from real meats, get the B vitamins that are going to keep you feeling really good mentally, carnosine, creatine, taurine, anti-aging molecules, all those things, get them from real food.
Sounds great. Listen, I, for one, you guys, I'm going to head over. I'm serious. If you come, you'll see me in there. I need this food addiction support group. I really do. Because I love where I'm at, but I want to love where I end up and stay there. And I want to understand it. It's not about how I look. It should be about how I feel. And that's the key. I'm trying to be the black ass male Betty White. I'm trying to make it all the way to 99 and beyond. It is possible. I believe it. Do you? Let's try. We'll never know unless we do. Listen, Dr. Sarah, thank you so much. Wow. What just a plethora of information. You guys head over. I'm going to Dr. Sarah, I'll see you inside your group for real. And who wants to join me? Dare you? I'll tell you, we got to learn in order to do better. So get in there. Charles Maddox, thank you so much for coming in. And thank all of you. Now listen, get out today and find one E and one R. I think you have them. If you were tuned in, you have them. You were great, but now you have what it takes to become even greater. Take that with you, give it away, and don't let my screen door slam. I promise. I'll see you tomorrow morning, God willing, out on the front porch, where together we'll have another illuminated conversation. Ding! Have the best day ever. And Dr. Lauren tells you every day, I love you. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Have the best day ever. Dr. Sarah, thank you so much. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Bye.
I appreciate it. Bye.
Same here. Bye, everybody. Have the best day.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind.